Hey everyone, this is my 2005 Honda Accord, 4-cylinder. 2 days back, I noticed the check engine light just came on, and I had to use one of this portable OTB reader. I got this one for about $30 from Canadian Tire on a good day, on a good sale. Upon checking, it gave me a code which is P0325. Now, this one is an indication that my knock sensor needs to be replaced, or maybe the wires related to that. Now, I just found out that the knock sensor is located in a very, very tricky location right underneath these intake hoses. Now you can see I just put a flashlight so y'all can see where it is. So if you look very, very closely, now you can see that little wire connecting to the sensor. That's where the knock sensor is located. Now, typically you take this to a mechanic, it's going to be a bigger job. They got to remove all of these wires, the intake hoses, and then they have to access to grab these. But I watched a few videos and got some ideas and put all the ideas together. And I figured out that you can still do this without the needing to remove this intake hose. Now, I've noticed right underneath these intake hose, right there, you can see there's a bit of a space, and you can actually see the knock sensor right there with the wire. Now that space is enough to access the knock sensor, but you definitely need certain tools. Now pay attention, the length of these tools are going to be very, very, very important. Now, because notice this extra long nose pliers, this one is 11-inch long. Now 11 inches just a bit long. If you have a 10-inch, that would be perfect. Now this is technically to get in through that opening, and first thing is removing that connector which connects to the knock sensor. Now I gotta tell you, removing the connector is the most difficult part of the job, more than changing and removing the knock sensor. The way this that wire adapter, where it's located, if you want to practice, just practice on one of these connectors, which is right here. This is very similar to the one you're going to find inside. So pretty much you go in that gap, and you have to come in and you have to squeeze. You see that you got to squeeze that clip, and then you got to pull it out. So there's a, you can see here right there. So that's the clip, and when you press, and then you got to pull out. Now with the finger I can't do it inside. The knock sensor's wire clip is very similar to this one over here. You gotta push it down and clamp it with the nose plier, and you gotta pull it out. So that's the little clicking sound you're hearing of that. That's exactly the way it's located on the inside right there. Alright, so this is needed to remove the wire from the knock sensor, and the next thing comes is the knock sensor itself. You definitely need one of these 27 millimeter socket. I bought these off from Amazon, about less than $10. You definitely need some extension. Now I just used 2 extension bars right here, which was enough length to access the knock sensor. And you can see here, it's right about, if I gotta put this next to it, and you can see the length right there to compare. So there we go. So if that nose plier was 11 inches, looking at about 9 inches of length, or about 8 you need. That's a length you might definitely need too. Now the reason why I tape these with duct tape, the last thing you want to do is you go in and you get the knock sensor and you pull out, and some of these extensions will just come off, and you're going to be stuck with something stuck inside. So please duct tape these extensions. So make sure they're nice and tight. So when you get the knock sensor out, when you pull it out, so none of these will come off, but you'll just get the knock sensor off. All right? Okay. All right, there you go. So this is where the plier goes in. You see that through that gap. I'm going to access and try to see. You can most probably see right there. You see where my nose plier is reaching. So that's enough length, and you can see here, as I said, 11 inches, just a little too much. It's hitting on the fan. So if you have a 10-inch nose plier, that would be absolutely perfect to access the place down there. There you go. Got a good view of this. Now you can see my plier is all in place. And you can see, just make sure, don't damage the wire. Just go up and down and squeeze. Alright, let's see here. Hopefully I got this one right. Alright, there you go. So I'm going to squeeze and I'm going to pull this out. There we go. So the wires come off. That's it. Let go and bingo. So we got the first job done, pulling the wire out, which is the most difficult part. Now you can see that is the knock sensor right there, that little bugger sitting there. It needs a 27mm socket to get that out. Alright, now here's my 27mm ratchet. Now this is to get the knock sensor out. Once again, it goes to the same gap. You can see here, it gets in, and right there, you're gonna go in there, and I'm gonna get a good view. So right there it sits, and there's a little bit of a space to put the ratchet bar. Alright, let's see how that goes. Alright, there we go. Let me just get that nice and close. Alright, and there's my 27mm getting in there. Alright, and there you go. It's locked in place. Nice and locked. And you can see here, that's the end. Alright. Alright, let's get the bar in there. Alright, there we go. Make sure you set the settings to remove. And then let's crank it. Bingo. Gotcha. That's it. Let's take this off. And yep, now I can just twist, and you can see there. Now here's an important part. Now once this comes off, you got to slightly angle it upwards. Don't angle it downwards because that knock sensor will fall off. So make sure nice and tight. Just take it off. Careful. There we go. Right in there. Okay, looks like it's off. Now I gotta kind of angle it upward. Alright, let's see. It's right there. It's nice and safe. Alright, you can actually see the space where the knock sensor goes and screws in. There we go. Alright, let me put some more light right there. Okay, time to get the new one. Alright, there we go. So this is the new knock sensor. You can see that's where the clip goes in, and this is the part which screws in. Now here's another tricky situation. Alright, you can't use now the same ratchet to put this in because there's a good chance that it may fall off because it goes in pretty deep. As you can see here, so this literally goes and falls inside. There's no way you can screw this in back in there using this. So I came up with a different plan. Let's see how this works out. Alright, I found this tube, more like a water pipe, in my toolbox. So what my plan is, I'm going to, alright, I'm going to have this end to go in there. hopefully. Let's see, that's my idea. And then I'm going to tape this with a clear tape, and I'm going to use this length to screw it in. There you go. So I just inserted this tube into the place where the wire socket goes, and this is the part which goes and screws in. So I'm going to tape this place down with a clear tape, and I'm going to use this length to screw this knock sensor back in. Let's see how that works. Alright, there you can see the clear tape. I taped it right at the edge over here. So once I screw this in, and when I pull the tube, the tape's going to slip off. The tape is going to, more chance is going to stick on this tube. It's going to come off from this. And it's the same idea to get this back in through this gap, and see if you can try and reach all the way in there. Perfect length. And you can see here, I'm able to reach the spot. And I'm just going to screw that in. So there we go. The new sensor is in there. And I pulled this tube out. And as I said, you can see here the tape just came off, leaving the knock sensor in there. That was perfect. Now I gotta get the ratchet back in and just give it a torque. Now remember, don't put this too tight. You should have like a gentle torque on this. You don't want to crack the cylinder head there. Back again, same way. Get it in the groove. Let's see here. And all the way go in there. Lock it in place. There you go, bingo, got it. Alright, locked it in place, give it a torque. Alright, there we go. Now, if your fingers can reach, you can align this. Hopefully y'all can see. It's tricky to take the video and do this. I'm gonna try to see if I can do this. There we go. Aligned it and push that in until it clicks. Bingo. There we go. It's done. Alright, job done. That's about it. Hopefully this helps someone to change the knock sensor. Let's take this off and crank the car and see if the engine light goes away.